Everfree Guardian, Chapter 5, Part 2. It was a beautiful day in Ponyville. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and even the greenery of nature seemed healthier this time around. All around you could see the kingdom's harmonic aesthetic on full display. However, no pony was out to enjoy it. Despite the Pegasi clearing the sky of all clouds, most shroud themselves in the shadows of their own homes. Or in other cases, the darkness of business buildings and restaurants. But why? Why are they hiding themselves away on a day like this? This was the first thought that Twilight Sparkle had when she came upon her friends in the ghost town her new home had become. Pinkie Pie and the rest of her close pals were holed up in Sugar Cube Corner, all hiding away from some strange mayor that arrived in town today. Twilight, confused by this behavior, questioned her friends on why they were concealing themselves like they were. And when Applejack pointed out the reason, all Twilight could see was that very same mayor mentioned digging at the ground near Ponyville's town hall. She blinked at the mayor, wondering just what she was doing.
Did you see her, Twilight?
The purple unicorn turned to Apple Bloom as she walked up next to her, Spike standing at her other side.
Did you see Zecora? Apple Bloom?
The young Apple flinched at the harsh calling of her older sibling, looking up as Applejack scolded her.
I told you never to say that name!
Twilight glanced between the two, before looking out of the window again.
Well, I definitely see her. She doesn't seem to be doing anything other than digging at the ground.
Pinkie glared over her shoulder at the mayor, squinting her eyes as she hissed out,
Digging evilly.
Twilight gently shoved Pinkie off, as she eyed the others with bewilderment.
And the lot of you recoil at this, why?
Applejack gawked at the star pupil.
Why? Why? Is protecting your kin a good enough reason for you, Twilight? That there's Zecora been coming and going for ages, popping up every month to do Celestia knows what. Soon as we saw her, I'd carry my little sister all the way here.
Apple Bloom stared forward blankly, deadpanning at her sister's blatant lie.
No, you didn't. I walked here. For safekeeping, Apple Bloom.
The little sister of the farmer yanked herself from AJ's grip, glaring at her with a pout.
Applejack, I'm not a baby. I can take care of myself. Not against that creepy Zecora, you can't.
Every pony else nodded in agreement, pitching in by listing the qualities Zecora exhibited.
She's mysterious. She's sinister. And spooky.
Twilight rolled her eyes as she looked back out of the window, the others following suit. As they eyed Zecora, it seemed something had caught her attention. Turning to the side revealed some of the mare's features to Twilight's, which immediately bashed the assumption that she was a pony. But what was she looking at? A sharp gasp from her friends when seeing Zecora's stripes had Twilight groan at their ridiculousness.
Will you cut that out?
They ignored her, mostly as Rarity cringed at the pony's colors.
Just look at those stripes, so garish. Rarity, she's a zebra.
Applejack peeked over at Twilight from her spot at the window.
She's a what now, Twilight? A zebra. And those stripes aren't a fashion sense, Rarity. That's what she was born with.
Applejack turned back to the window, eyeing those stripes and golden rings on her arm.
Born where, though? I ain't ever seen a pony like her around these parts, save for her, anyways. Well, she's probably not from here, Applejack, and she's not a pony. My books say that zebras come from a faraway land. Judging from her attire, she must have migrated here from outside of the kingdom, or lived someplace quieter. Speaking of which, I've never even seen her around until now. Where does she live? That's just it, Twilight. She lives in the Everfree forest.
The others shivered as Twilight's eyes narrowed, her understanding of their fear now becoming much more clear. Applejack illuminated the said fears even further with her own voiced thoughts.
The Everfree forest just ain't natural. The plants grow, animals are taking care of themselves in there, and the clouds move all in their lonesome. No pony ever dares step inside them parts, let alone lives in there.
Applejack knew that she was contradicting the obvious. Despite what she said, she is well aware that Nate lives out in the Everfree himself. She didn't like it, but the major difference between the human and Zecora is their nature. While Zecora is an oddity, Applejack had long since known Nate to be violent by nature. Any threat that he came across, he either put a bullet in its face with those fancy guns of his, or threw his fist at its face. No matter what it was. It was his calling, his own special talents. He was a survivor, something Applejack respected. Zecora, on the other hand, was a red herring, an outlier that never truly fit well with the populace of Ponyville. Not to mention all the rumors about Zecora cursing and placing hexes on ponies that come across her. Twilight wasn't buying it either. She lived with her elder twin siblings long enough to know when a heaping helping of bullshit was sitting before her. This was just a bunch of gossip and rumors. She doubted any pony actually saw her doing anything evil. If anything, Zecora may have just been coming to Ponyville to search for something, maybe even shop, though the digging is a bit off-putting. She hummed as she was ready to rebuke another wave of these accusations from her friends, but was stopped when Rainbow pointed outside.
Hey, look, it's that Everfree guy! What?
Twilight turned and walked back to the window, Applejack and Fluttershy beating her there and nearly having a meltdown when Nathan Schmidt was standing a few yards away from Zecora. Fluttershy was especially freaking out because not only was her newest close friend confronting such an evil entity, but he had Angel with him. From the look of his stance, Nate seemed like he was readying himself to fight Zecora. The latter, whom was facing him the whole time the others were arguing, had pulled out a wooden staff, wielding it in her left hand while the other's was flexing its fingers. It seemed as though the two were talking to one another, Angel hiding back in the hood of the Everfree Guardian sweater. Twirling the stick once, Zecora bounded forward, spinning with the swing that she made to hit the human with. Jumping over the swipe towards his legs, he ducked and slid past the next swipe of the staff, leaping back to the left as the swift strikes bound by the zebra was of equal speed to his perception. Dive rolling past Zecora, the Guardian stood up and shot his foot forward, aiming it for Zecora's head. When it missed, he used the momentum to come back around and go for a leg sweep. Zecora leaped over him, backflipping onto a stall and jumping off with her legs sticking up in the air. Coming down for an axe kick, the Guardian blocked it with his arms crossed over his head. Shoving her off and backpedaling, the Guardian ducked, weaved, and dodged Zecora's staff as it came at him, only momentarily blocking and parrying her other hand when it came to him in a fist or an open palm. Twilight was rather surprised at the zebra skill. She fought with much more elegance than any royal guard at Canterlot Castle. In fact, the only pony her skills could compare to was General Gleaming Shield, her elder sister. Such grace in her movements as well as the ferocity in her attacks, she couldn't imagine how the Everfree Guardian was reacting and dodging like he was. She watched with awe as 3 more blows were stopped, 2 by his arms and the last by his fist. Clashing together on the 4th assault, the two didn't even appear winded. Zecora used the opening left by the clash to stab her staff forward. Sidestepping it, the Guardian turned as he grabbed her face, throwing her over him and tearing off her cloak as she went flying towards one of the abandoned stalls. A loud crash, along with splinters of wood raining everywhere, was all that was left of Zecora as she disappeared into the small bits of rubble. The Guardian stood there, staring into the pile with a suspicious posture, as if he knew this wasn't over yet. Clenching his fists together, he turned up just in time to see Zecora come from above, swinging her staff down just on top of him. Twilight flinched as a dust cloud was kicked up, the two falling deeper into the soil with a zebra on top of the Guardian. Standing over him, Zecora was now without her hood, and was revealed to the populace of Ponyville in its entirety. She was indeed a zebra, and one who barely wore anything at all. Made from the natural leaves and vines of the Everfree, Zecora had on a grass miniskirt, a pair of handmade sandals, a top that concealed only her chest, and the various golden rings on her arm and her neck. A golden hoop was also present, pierced through her ear. She stayed over the human, knelt down and smirking at him. The staff was at the left side of the Guardian's head, stabbed into the dirt with cracks formed all around it. Fluttershy and Applejack panicked, believing that this to be the end of their beloved human pal. But this wasn't the case. With a hearty laugh from Zecora, the zebra helped the Guardian to his feet, much to the surprise of those within Sugar Cube Corner. Holding the staff at her side, it appeared as though Zecora was praising the Guardian. Seeing this made Twilight second-guess the judgment of her friends even more, and a part of her wanted to go out and actually meet these two. After all, what better chance does she have to meet 2 enigmas that are living out in the most dangerous forest in Equestria? So, that's what she did.
You have been taking my lessons to heart. Your endeavors within the mountains have certainly played a part.
Nate dusted off his hoodie as he straightened himself out, putting his hands back in his pockets while Angel staggered out from behind his hood, dazed and dizzy from the brief spar.
Oh, so you saw that, huh? Not exactly my finest hours.
On the contrary, you are quite exemplary. It is not often one handles conflict with actions of permentary. The silver dragon that terrorized your home is no more, and the mares that you have rescued now live the lives of before.
She tapped him playfully with her staff as she picked up her cloak, slinging it back over her shoulders.
I have taught you well.
Nate nodded as he walked with her back to the hole that she was digging. Watching from over Zecora's shoulder, she went back to it.
Yeah, your lessons on hand-to-hand combat have helped me refine my own skills. Had it not been for you or my instincts for fight or flight, I might not have made it out in those caves alive.
He peered down at the hole Zecora was digging, his eyes showing curiosity through the shadows covering his face.
What are you doing here in Ponyville, Zecora? You digging for some rare ingredient again?
In a sense, yes. I am here with aim to siphon nutrients from an Everfree weed, as its contents will cure many with unlimited success.
An Everfree weed? Why would one of the forest's plants be all the way in Ponyville?
Zecora brushed away a bit more dirt, uncovering a strange root that was growing a few feet under the soil. Its appearance was primarily black, with cyan blue thorns covering the broad side of the vine-like appendage. It also appeared to be moving as if it were alive, or growing at a rate unprecedented.
What the hell is that?
This is one of the many roots that escape the confinements of the forest's borders. Left unchecked, the roots sprout their own tree life and bring many places disorders. By siphoning the nutrients, the roots retreat back to the Everfree along with its variants.
Nate watched as she plunged a syringe into the tip of the root, drawing some sort of serum from it. Taking out the needle, the root was left dried and empty, forcing it to drop back wherever it came from. Nate could feel more roots underneath him following suit, true to Zecora's word. Packing the syringe away, Zecora stood up.
Alas, I have come for what I need this time. Do come by my hut for another exchange, for more ingredients from herbs would be sublime.
Nate nodded as he waved to her.
I'll see what I can do. I haven't been out much, so I doubt I'll have anything new this time around.
Anything at all is welcome, so do not be afraid to share your wares when you come.
She gave a curt polite bow as she turned heel and paced down the road, leaving Ponyville Central District behind as she made her way for the Everfree Forest. Rolling and popping his shoulder, he looked around the area to try to find any pony else. He figured they all must be still hiding or collectively away from the town. Seemed stupid to just leave it silent like this, but now he had to go back to what he was doing. Imagine having Zecora and Gilda fight, though I'm pretty sure we'd know who would win. Anywho, let's get on to our fighters of donators. Top donators are 630, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, Only One Thing, and Twinkie. Rayden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Pastel Skies, Austin Rollins, Crazy Color 557, Stu Hex, Sword Brother and Mortred, Omicron Lyre, Will, Chris, Dospo, and many more amazing people. Thank you all very much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.